You know, they will have to continue on riding as they have been, but it's certainly not all over for anybody yet.
It's certainly not. It's not over even for Nicky Terpstra within this duo. These are the threat. 18 seconds, and isn't an expanding gap. It's a holding one for now, but the kilometres are clicking down, and everyone is absolutely exhausted. There's also teams here who've got members up the road that aren't going to help out. So, despite the fact this looks like a big chasing group, there are some that don't have to engage, Sean, and it's to their advantage.
Yes, well, certainly a big advantage if you have a teammate out front and you can sit on this group and just get carried along, and that is the case. We can see with BMC they have you know, a man back in this group because Van Avermaet is just out in front, and of course Ethics Quickstep, they were playing that game for quite a while, but I'm not. Yeah, we still have Stuybar in this group.
9.6 kilometres to go. It's 18 seconds. It's clicking down very, very gently. What's Peter Sagan got? He's had a team that is in flux, I think it's fair to say. Bjarne Riis has been cast aside. There's been all kinds of criticism of his performance from the management. Peter Sagan would have loved victory today. He's sick of finishing second. It might be worse than that if he doesn't get himself up towards the front men. He's got to engage the help of Greg Van Avermaet. How much of a danger is he? Well, quite one, but I think Alexander Kristoff at the moment is red-hot favourite with a 16-second gap with 9.1 to go. Sean, we've dealt with the pavé. It's now about the run into town, and there's going to be a clear view of the hounds are going to see the hares before you know it.
Yes, well, they can all see each other, although for the chasing group, the bigger group there, our two leaders are a bit further out, but certainly Sagan and Van Avermaet, you know, they're just hanging out in front of that chasing group of 8-9 riders.
It's an expanding gap by the looks of things back to the pack. No, just off camera, there it is. It's holding station about 6 seconds further back. These guys have got a 15 seconds advantage over Van Avermaet and Sagan. 8.6 to go. Wow. They won't be thinking about pain at the moment because I think the adrenaline is probably just blanketing that. As far as the sprint finish is concerned, however, they will be thinking about strategy. What on earth can Nicky Terpstra do to win this, Sean?
Well, it's a difficult situation when you're with such a great sprinter. Even you know, if you just get a little bit of an easier ride in the final kilometre, and the advantage is going to be very important as we go into the final 3-4 kilometres. Our two leaders, if they have still that, you know, 27 seconds, 30 seconds advantage, well, then they can afford to play about a bit. I think Terpstra, he should try, you know, bluff it a bit and not want to ride in the final 2 kilometres and make Kristoff do all the riding. That way, he might have some chance of challenging him in the sprint.
There's lots of checking over shoulders to see where Degenkolb is, incidentally. These guys have got 10 seconds on the pack. It's Greg Van Avermaet, we remind you, crashed in the E3. Second here last year, would love to take the victory. I'm still not convinced that this gap can't be bridged, you know, especially if Nicky Terpstra sits on too much on Kristoff, because I think Kristoff would probably have the confidence to win the sprint in a quartet. And so maybe it would be in his interests not to do too much work. I guess Terpstra knows that fact. 16 seconds. Normally, 16 or 17 seconds would not be enough for a breakaway to hold off at this sort of distance. But the fact of the matter is, Sean, everyone is exhausted after a day like this. They're all in the same boat.
Yes, everybody is, you know, at the end of their energies, and we're a small group chasing. Okay, when you have a bigger group chasing, and you know they're preparing maybe for a sprinter in the team, but you know, the riders who have got teammates here, they're not going to do the riding. Lotto Soudal, they seem to have 2 riders, Rolands and Benoit, and you know, they're just following for the moment and waiting to see if this gap is going to come down.
It's all to do. Nicky Terpstra knows what glory feels like in the Paris-Roubaix. Runner-up in the Ghent-Wevelgem. What can he do this time by? Alexander Kristoff, absolute supreme performer in the Milan-San Remo. Lost out this time by, of course, to John Degenkolb. Well, these guys have tasted glory before, Sean. It just makes you more hungry for yet more, does it not?
Well, as they say, when you win a big one, a monument, it's a bit easier to win another one. Both of them have done that. Milan-San Remo winner Christoph, Paris-Roubaix, Niki Terpstra. But again, you know, you have to look at what a rider is capable of doing. And when you're with a rider like Christoph, who is so rapid in the sprint, well, then you have to start thinking, what tactic can I use to try and beat this guy?
It's all rocking and rolling behind, and Stein de Volder has picked a man to go with right now. It's Stibar sets off in hot pursuit. These guys are starting to look at each other. John Degenkolb looks like he's been found out today. It would all have to come back together in dramatic fashion if he was to make it. Jurgen Rollins is kind of tagging along for the ride. Will there be a Belgian on the podium? They've been waiting for a while. They don't like it, the Belgians. Greg van Avermaet is their best chance, but right now it's a Dutchman and a Norwegian that look like they're going to share the spoils, and they've got 26 seconds, Sean. They're extending the gap.
Yes, they are extending the gap, and they're working quite well together. We can see there Van Avermaet and Sagan still trying to, you know, do their best, but I think, yeah, they're not as strong as our two leaders.
Five kilometers to go at that next air bridge, which thankfully is fully inflated. One of these guys' chest is going to be fit to burst at the end. He won't care about that, because it looks like one of this pair are going to win this year's Tour of Flanders, the biggest race on Belgian soil. Belgians, well, they're the best placed of them, I'm afraid, is at 26 seconds back, and 12 seconds further behind is a very highly motivated chasing group, and it doesn't look like it's going to be them. They haven't got the legs, Sean, by the looks of things, to close down on two highly motivated monument winners up front.
No, they haven't got the power to close it down. We can see there, you know, they are struggling to, you know, ease into the advantage. The only possibility is now that Niki Terpstra start to not contribute up front with Christoph. I would see that, and we can see he's a little bit already, you know, he's not taking as much of a term on the front or a pull on the front, and we can see Christoph is looking around, starting to get a bit nervous. And if they do that, well, then we could see our two chasers, Van Avermaet and Sagan, joining up here with these two.
Niki Terpstra is looking beyond Christoph right now. Niki Terpstra in the blue and black, the BMC of red and black here of Greg van Avermaet, just tagging on to Slovakian champion Peter Sagan, and Christoph dismissively comes through as if to say, call that a turn, Sean? They're arguing already, maybe not, maybe in silence.
Yes, you can see that you know, they're not working as well together as they were after the first kilometers after the Patersburg, and it's normal. I think Niki Terpstra, you know, if he gives it his 100%, if he gives, you know, share the pace setting and the pulling on the front as much as Christoph, well, then he has no chance at all. So he's going to try and, you know, leave the best sprinter do all the work, or do most of the work, and that way maybe he will have some chance to push him in the sprint.
Just passing the 4 kilometers to go mark. Greg van Avermaet first, or third, I should say, on the road in front of Peter Sagan. Meanwhile, Christoph comes through. Looks like he's happy, at least not as angry about taking a turn, Sean. I think he's accepted the situation.
Well, I'm not sure. I think Christoph is the one who's doing the majority of the pulling on the front. We can see here, you know, he's going to be a long time on the front, and when it comes to the time of Terpstra, you know, Christoph has to look around, and he has to almost, you know, beg him to come to the front. And if that continues, as we can see, 20 seconds at the moment, we're getting close to the finish, so it's, you know, it's time. It's getting good looking for Christoph if they continue on riding at this pace.
As I said, though, I think Christoph would be more confident in a quartet, facing up to Sagan and Greg van Avermaet, but we're simply guessing as to how he's feeling at the end of what has been an incredibly busy day for everybody. But that gap is coming down. It was 29 seconds not that long ago, and Terpstra perhaps realizes he doesn't want runners up spot. Nobody does. Christoph's experienced that in Milan-San Remo, Gent Wevelgem, of course, for Terpstra, likewise. So both of them determined to take another monument, but determination is one thing, and the ability to deliver is another. These guys, I feel sorry for Peter Sagan yet again. 17 seconds down, 2.7 to go. They have to suddenly accelerate, almost explosively, the guys who are in the chasing group. 16 seconds, though, Sean. It's starting to close this gap. It might be reasonably narrow at the end here.
Yes, well, we can see again Nicky Terpstra is just sitting on the wheel, not taking the front immediately when Christoph pulls over a little bit. We can see the hand signal there from Christoph, and that's what Terpstra is going to continue on doing, and this gap is going to continue falling. 16 seconds at the moment. We're getting inside the final 2.5 kilometers.
Lars Bohm is off the back of that chasing group, as you can see, which is the main body of favourites that have made it this far into the race. And here we go. This is Alexander Kristoff. We're used to saying his name at the moment. He's been on supreme form, Sean. In Japan, he was quite simply outstanding, and that just shows you never count your chickens, for goodness sake. Stijn van der Berg on the deck.
Yes, I think a lot of riders like on the limit, very, very tired. Let's just touch the rider in front of him. Degenkolb actually touched the wheel, and yeah, just smashes straight into the side of him. And yes, when you're at this point in the race, everybody is just on the limit, and your reflexes are very, very poor.
1.8 kilometers to go. Nicky Terpstra's got to try and mug Alexander Kristoff, and that is an extraordinarily difficult thing to do. There's not many around, Sean, at the moment, at the end of a day, who would favour being in this position that Nicky Terpstra finds himself in right now.
No, certainly not a good position for Terpstra to be in, but the end of a race, 260 plus kilometres, it's all about how much you have left in the end, and we've seen it in the past, the better sprinters that you would expect, to win the sprint comfortably, get into difficulty, but has Terpstra got, that much that he can challenge Christoph?
1,300 metres only, and this is the danger if they really do look at each other, even still right now, because if they start weaving across the road, none of them wanting to take it up with 600 metres to go. 15 seconds can be eaten up before you know it. It's already 14 seconds, and here we go. It's the Flamme Rouge. It's a straight road down to our commentary position. They come underneath it, and still no movement from them, and they're holding position. Kristoff fully aware of the danger. It's only a jump that can save Nicky Terpstra in P2 at the moment, and Kristoff's going to pick this up. I wonder if he's going to go early, Sean.
No, I don't think Kristoff will go early. He will just, continue right in the front. Nicky Terpstra is not going to take it up from here in, but he will try and go in the attack. Terpstra or Kristoff just will keep on rolling, but we can see, and the long lenses there, it looks like this group is coming up, so Kristoff is going to have to continue pushing on.
He is going to have to continue pushing on. Pick a point in the road as they head towards the 500-metre mark, and then do your own countback. They're all spreading around the road for minor positions right now. The flags are draped. They'll be on somebody's shoulders at the end of the day. They're going to have to be brought in a situation such as this, because Greg Van Avermaet is on their case. He's starting to close the gap here. Van Avermaet picks it up. Still no movement from Nicky Terpstra. Cool as a cucumber is Alexander Kristoff. He's not going yet. He's not going, but he's going to be tempted into action. He has to be. Terpstra's going to take him before you know it. Greg Van Avermaet's closing the gap. Peter Sagan's got nowhere to go. Oh, and Terpstra tries to go for it right now. What's he got? He tries to take a little bit of draft. Kristoff picks it up right now. It's going to be glory for the Norwegian. Oh, what a win that was. What an absolute amazing display of poise, power, demeanour, and indeed belief. He had them all, and now he's taken the big one here in Belgium.